Hello, everyone. I am Maria. Welcome to the Learn and Talk English podcast. In today's episode, we will explore practical and easy-to-follow techniques to help you improve your English speaking skills, boost your vocabulary, and become more confident in conversations. Whether you are a beginner or looking to refine your fluency, this episode is packed with tips tailored just for you. We encourage you to listen to the entire episode multiple times. Take the time to write down all the new vocabulary, focus on mastering the pronunciation, and apply the advice you hear step by step. Doing this will make a significant difference in your English learning journey. Stay tuned, because you will learn the secrets to overcoming hesitation, building consistency, and making real progress in your English learning journey. And don't go anywhere. After the break, Jack and Olivia will join us to discuss these strategies in depth and share more valuable insights.
Welcome to the Learn and Talk English podcast. One of the most common questions I get from English learners is, how can I become more fluent? It's a great question.
Yeah, it is. It's something that every English learner wants, right?
Yeah.
To speak English fluently, to understand everything easily.
Absolutely.
And, it's a journey.
It is.
It's a process. It's about building skills over time. So how do we work towards fluency?
Well, it's important to remember that fluency involves two key aspects. The first is consumption. Taking in English through listening and reading. It's like absorbing the language, getting familiar with the sounds, the rhythms, and the vocabulary. The second is production, actively using the language through speaking and writing. That's where you put your knowledge into practice, express yourself, and build confidence.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. So on the consumption side, someone might be watching lots of English movies or listening to English music. They're getting exposed to the language, right? Exactly, but it's like watching a cooking show without ever trying the recipes. You might pick up some techniques, but you won't become a chef that way. You need to get into the kitchen and start cooking.
That's a great analogy. So to continue with that, production is all about actually speaking and writing in English, even if it feels a bit messy at first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about taking those ingredients you've absorbed and creating something of your own. And just like with cooking, the more you practice, the better you become.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, I'm curious from your experience, what are some common mistakes learners make when it comes to finding this balance between consuming and producing English?
One mistake I see often is focusing too heavily on one side, either consumption or production, while neglecting the other. Some learners get stuck in a cycle of just reading textbooks and watching movies, but they rarely speak or write in English. Others jump into conversations without having a solid foundation, which can lead to frustration.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, that harmony between the two.
Exactly. It's like learning to play an instrument. You need to listen to music, understand the theory, and then practice playing the instrument itself. You can't just do one or the other.
You mentioned something interesting earlier about pronunciation being connected to listening skills. This is something that really stood out to me in some of the materials you shared. Can you elaborate on that a bit more?
Absolutely. You might be surprised to hear this, but working on your pronunciation can actually improve your listening comprehension. When you practice how sounds are formed, you become more attuned to those sounds when you hear them. Imagine a musician training their ear to pick out different notes. The more they practice, the more easily they can distinguish between those notes, even in a complex piece of music. It's similar with language. By focusing on building blocks of pronunciation, you're actually improving your overall comprehension as well.
That's a fascinating point. It's like sharpening your ears, making them more sensitive to the nuances of the language.
Exactly. It's about fine-tuning your perception of the sounds of English.
Okay, so we've got consuming English, producing English, and pronunciation all intertwined. But there are so many other techniques out there. Which ones really stood out to you based on what you've seen and experienced?
One technique that I find particularly powerful, and it might seem a bit unusual at first, is the idea of narrating your life in English.
Narrating your life in English. I have to admit, that sounds a bit, well, I can imagine myself walking around my apartment, narrating every little thing I do. Now I'm opening the refrigerator. Now I'm taking out the milk. Now I'm...
It might feel silly at first, but think about it. You're constantly surrounding yourself with English, forcing yourself to think in the language. You're practicing vocabulary, grammar, and even pronunciation in a natural, spontaneous way.
So it's like creating a constant stream of English in your mind. You're essentially becoming your own English commentator.
Exactly. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll become with thinking and speaking in English, even when you're not actively studying.
Now, speaking of thinking in English, I remember when I was learning Spanish, I kept a vocabulary diary. Every time I came across a new word, I would write it down along with its definition and maybe even an example sentence. It was so satisfying to finally be able to use a word that I'd been struggling with.
That's a classic technique, but it's a classic for a reason. That sense of accomplishment is so important in language learning. It keeps you motivated and shows you that you're making progress.
Absolutely. And it's a great way to personalize your learning, to focus on the words and phrases that are most relevant to your life and interests.
It's about making the language your own.
Now, I've been talking a lot about techniques and strategies, but something that often gets overlooked is the mental side of language learning.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Mindset plays a crucial role in language learning. It's not just about the methods you use, it's about the way you approach the learning process itself.
So can you talk a bit more about that? How can learners cultivate a positive mindset that will help them succeed?
One key is shifting your focus from motivation to discipline. Motivation can be fleeting, it comes and goes, but discipline is about consistency, about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about making English learning a habit, a part of your daily routine.
That's such an important point. We've all been there, right?
We have.
Those days when you just don't feel like studying. But it's about pushing through those moments, even if it's just for 15 minutes.
Exactly. And another key aspect of mindset is embracing mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable in language learning, but they're not something to be afraid of. In fact, they're valuable learning opportunities.
That's something I always try to emphasize with my students. Mistakes are not failures. They're stepping stones to fluency.
Exactly. They're feedback. They show you where you need to focus your attention. And the more you embrace mistakes, the less afraid you'll be to speak and practice, which ultimately leads to faster progress.
That's so true. It's about creating a safe learning environment for yourself where you feel comfortable experimenting with the language and not worrying about being perfect.
And another important aspect of mindset is believing in yourself, believing that you can achieve fluency. It might sound cliche, but it makes a huge difference.
So it's not just about the methods and techniques, it's about the attitude, the belief in your own ability to learn and grow.
Exactly. It's about having a growth mindset, believing that you can improve with effort and dedication.
Yeah.
And it's about celebrating your successes along the way, no matter how small they may seem.
That's such an important point. Recognizing your progress, acknowledging how far you've come, that can be incredibly motivating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on the positive, on what you're achieving, rather than dwelling on your mistakes or perceived shortcomings.
Okay, so we've talked about mindset discipline, embracing mistakes, and believing in yourself. Are there any other mental strategies that you found helpful in your own language learning journey or in your work with students?
One that I found incredibly beneficial is creating a supportive learning environment. Surround yourself with people who encourage your progress, who celebrate your successes with you.
Yes, that could be a language partner, a tutor, a teacher, or even an online community. Having that support system can make a world of difference.
Absolutely. It helps you stay accountable, motivated, and connected to your goals. And it creates a sense of community, which can make the learning process more enjoyable and rewarding.
That's so true. Language learning shouldn't feel like a solitary struggle. It's about connecting with others who share your passion for learning and who can support you along the way.
Exactly. It's about creating a positive and encouraging atmosphere where you feel comfortable experimenting, making mistakes, and celebrating your growth.
Now, we've touched upon a few key areas, finding the balance between consumption and production, the role of pronunciation, the importance of mindset, and the power of a supportive learning environment. But there are so many other aspects of English learning that we could explore. Let's dive into those in our next episode.
Welcome back to the Learn and Talk English podcast.
It's great to be back. I'm really excited to continue our conversation about mastering English. We covered a lot of ground in the first part talking about finding that balance between consuming and producing English, the unexpected connection between pronunciation and listening skills, and of course, the power of mindset.
Yes, we talked about how important it is to create a supportive learning environment, to embrace those mistakes as opportunities for growth, and to believe in your own ability to achieve fluency.
Right.
And now I think it's time to dive into some specific strategies and techniques for improving your skills in different areas of English.
Okay, let's unpack that. Where should we start?
Well, since we were just talking about producing English, how about we start with speaking? Many learners find speaking to be the most challenging aspect of language learning, but it's also one of the most rewarding.
Yes, I agree. There's nothing quite like having a conversation in English and feeling that sense of accomplishment, that feeling of truly connecting with others.
Absolutely. But speaking fluently takes practice and it takes stepping outside of your comfort zone.
So what are some practical ways that learners can get more speaking practice, especially if they don't have many opportunities to speak English in their daily lives?
One technique we touched on earlier is narrating your life in English, talking about what you're doing as you're doing it, even if you're just at home by yourself. It might sound strange, but it's a great way to get comfortable with thinking and speaking in English.
It's like turning your daily routine into an English practice session.
Exactly. And if you're looking for more structured speaking practice, there are plenty of online platforms and apps that connect you with other English learners or even native speakers for conversation practice.
Yes, those can be fantastic resources. They provide a safe and supportive environment where you can practice your speaking skills without feeling self-conscious.
And many of these platforms offer different types of conversation practice, such as free-flowing discussions, role-playing scenarios, or even debates.
So you can tailor the practice to your specific needs and interests.
Exactly. Now, another tip for improving your speaking skills is to focus on using the vocabulary and grammar that you already know, rather than getting bogged down trying to learn everything at once.
That's such an important point. It's easy to get overwhelmed when learning a new language, but it's more effective to master the basics and gradually expand your knowledge.
Imagine trying to build a house without a solid foundation. It would crumble, right? It's the same with language. You need to have a strong foundation of basic vocabulary and grammar before you can move on to more complex structures.
And that foundation is built through practice, through using the language actively, even if it's not perfect at first.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of the learning process.
I often tell my students that mistakes are your friends. They show you where you need to focus your attention, and they help you learn and grow.
Absolutely. Embrace your mistakes, learn from them, and keep practicing.
Now let's move on to another crucial skill, listening. Listening is the foundation of communication. It's how we understand the world around us. But for English learners, it can be a real challenge, especially when faced with different accents, speeds of speech, and unfamiliar vocabulary.
Yes, listening comprehension is essential for effective communication in English. And just like with speaking, it takes practice and the right approach.
So what are some effective strategies for improving our listening comprehension?
One technique that we mentioned earlier is called shadowing. It involves listening to a recording and trying to repeat it as closely as possible, mimicking the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm.
It's like you're becoming the speaker's echo.
Exactly. By shadowing, you train your ear to pick up on the nuances of spoken English and improve your own pronunciation and fluency at the same time.
And what types of recordings are best for shadowing?
You can shadow anything from podcasts and audiobooks to movies and TV shows. The key is to choose material that you find interesting and engaging.
That way you'll be more motivated to practice.
Absolutely. And another great way to improve your listening skills is to simply immerse yourself in English as much as possible.
So that means listening to podcasts, watching movies and TV shows, and listening to music in English.
Right. The more you expose yourself to the language, the more comfortable you'll become with understanding different accents and speeds of speech. And as you become a more confident listener, you'll find it easier to participate in conversations and understand what's being said around you.
That's great advice. Now let's talk about another essential skill, reading. Reading opens up a world of knowledge and information, and it can be a fantastic way to improve your vocabulary, grammar, and overall understanding of English.
Yes, reading is a powerful tool for language learning. And just like with listening, it's important to choose material that you find interesting and engaging.
So what are some other effective strategies for improving our reading comprehension?
One classic technique is to keep a vocabulary diary. Whenever you come across a new word, write it down in your diary along with its definition and an example sentence.
That's a great way to actively engage with the text and to build your vocabulary.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to look up words you don't know. It's all part of the learning process.
And as you read more, you'll start to recognize patterns in the language and develop a better understanding of grammar and sentence structure.
Exactly. It's like putting together a puzzle. The more pieces you have, the clearer the picture becomes.
Now, we've talked about speaking, listening, and reading. What about writing? Writing is essential for communication in both personal and professional settings, and it's a skill that many English learners want to improve.
Writing is a valuable skill for any English learner. It allows you to express your thoughts and ideas clearly and effectively, and it helps you solidify your understanding of grammar and vocabulary.
So what are some tips for improving our writing skills?
One suggestion is to practice writing in different styles and formats. Instead of just writing essays, try writing emails, letters, blog posts, or even short stories.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
By experimenting with different genres, you'll develop a wider range of writing skills and become more comfortable expressing yourself in written English.
Exactly. And another tip is to focus on clarity and conciseness. When writing in a foreign language, it's easy to get bogged down in complex sentence structures and obscure vocabulary.
But the most effective writing is often clear, simple, and straightforward.
Absolutely. It's about conveying your message in a way that's easy for the reader to understand.
And don't be afraid to ask for feedback from others on your writing. Whether it's a teacher, a tutor, or a native speaker, getting feedback can help you identify areas for improvement.
Feedback is essential for growth. It helps you see your writing from a different perspective and identify areas where you can improve.
So we've covered the 4 key skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. But I think it's important to remember that these skills are interconnected. They all work together to help us communicate effectively in English.
Absolutely. You can't truly master one skill without developing the others.
For example, improving your listening skills can help you become a better speaker. Reading can expand your vocabulary and improve your writing. And writing can help you solidify your understanding of grammar and sentence structure, which can benefit all aspects of your English communication.
It's a holistic process.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you practice and integrate these skills, the more fluent and confident you'll become in English.
Well said. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground already, but I feel like there's so much more to explore. Are there any other techniques, strategies, or resources that you think are particularly helpful for English learners, especially those who are aiming for that next level of fluency?
There are so many resources available, and what works best will vary depending on the learner's individual needs and goals. But I think it's important to remember that effective language learning is about more than just memorizing grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It's about engaging with the language in meaningful ways.
So it's about connecting with the language on a deeper level, about making it a part of your life.
Exactly. It's about finding ways to use English in a way that is authentic and enjoyable for you.
That's a great message to end on. But before we wrap up this part of our conversation, I want to go back to something we discussed earlier, the importance of mindset. We talked about embracing mistakes, believing in yourself, and creating a supportive learning environment. But are there any other mental strategies that you found helpful in your own language learning journey or in your work with students?
One strategy that I find incredibly powerful is visualization. It involves imagining yourself speaking English fluently, confidently, and effortlessly.
So it's like creating a mental picture of yourself achieving your language goals.
Exactly. By visualizing yourself speaking English successfully, you're training your mind to believe that it's possible. And when you believe it's possible, you're more likely to put in the effort and persevere through challenges.
That's so interesting. It's almost like you're planting a seed in your subconscious mind, a seed that will grow into fluency with time and effort.
Exactly. Visualization is a powerful tool for creating positive change, and it can be incredibly effective in language learning.
Now, speaking of positive change, another mental strategy that I found helpful is to focus on the benefits of learning English rather than the challenges.
That's a great point. When you focus on the positive, on the doors that learning English can open, you're more likely to stay motivated and engaged.
Exactly. Think about all the incredible opportunities that knowing English can bring, connecting with people from different cultures, traveling the world with confidence, advancing your career, expanding your knowledge and understanding of the world. The list goes on and on.
Absolutely. When you remind yourself of why you're learning English, of the positive impact it can have on your life, it becomes easier to push through those challenging moments and to stay committed to your goals.
That's so true. It's about finding your personal why, the driving force behind your desire to learn English. When that why is strong enough, it can overcome any obstacle.
Exactly. It becomes a source of inspiration, a beacon guiding you towards fluency.
Well, this has been such an insightful conversation. We've explored so many different aspects of English learning, from specific techniques and strategies to the power of mindset and visualization.
We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still more to explore. In our next episode, we'll delve into some advanced techniques and resources that can help you take your English skills to an even higher level. We'll talk about things like mastering idioms, understanding different accents, and using technology to your advantage in your language learning journey.
That sounds fantastic. I can't wait to continue this conversation and to learn even more about how to unlock the full potential of English. But for now, we'll leave you with this thought. Believe in yourself, embrace the journey, and never stop exploring the world of English. Welcome back to the Learn and Talk English podcast.
It's great to be back.
It's amazing how much we've already covered in our journey to mastering English in 2025.
I know, right?
We started by talking about the importance of finding the right balance between consuming and producing English, highlighting how both are crucial for developing fluency. We then explored a variety of practical strategies for improving our speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills, emphasizing the importance of finding what works best for you as an individual learner.
Absolutely.
And throughout our conversation, we've woven in the power of mindset, stressing how believing in yourself, embracing mistakes, and visualizing success can make a significant difference in your language learning journey.
Yes, definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's been holistic exploration, looking at both the technical aspects of language learning and the mental strategies that can unlock your full potential.
I agree.
But, as we hinted at the end of the last part, there's still so much more to uncover.
There is.
Today, we're going to delve into some advanced techniques and resources that can really elevate your English skills, taking you beyond the basics and towards a deeper understanding and mastery of the language.
Okay, let's get into it.
Sounds exciting. I'm ready to take my English to the next level.
Yeah.
Where should we begin?
Well, one area that often trips up even advanced learners is the vast world of English accents.
Yes, that's a great point. English is spoken all over the world, and there are so many regional variations in pronunciation, vocabulary, and even grammar. It can be overwhelming.
Oh, it definitely can.
You might be watching a movie from the UK and suddenly find yourself struggling to understand the characters' accents. Or you might be listening to a podcast from Australia and wonder if they're even speaking English.
It happens all the time.
It's happened to me countless times. So how can we better navigate this landscape of accents? How can we train our ears to understand different ways of speaking English?
One of the most effective strategies is simply exposure. The more you listen to different accents, the more familiar you'll become with the variations in pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm.
So it's about immersing ourselves in the diversity of English rather than sticking to just one or two familiar accents.
Exactly. And luckily, we live in a time where this immersion is easier than ever before.
That's so true. We have access to a wealth of resources online. We can watch movies and TV shows from different English-speaking countries, listen to podcasts and audiobooks narrated by speakers from all over the world, and even connect with native speakers through online platforms and communities.
Right. It's amazing.
It's a world of accents at your fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
And by actively engaging with this diversity, you'll not only improve your listening comprehension, but also develop a more nuanced and sophisticated understanding of the English language as a whole.
Absolutely.
It's like expanding your mental map of English, seeing all the different paths and connections that exist within this vast and dynamic language.
Exactly. Now, another challenge that advanced learners often face is mastering idioms and slang.
Yes, idioms and slang can be tricky. They're often figurative and not literal meaning. Their meanings can't always be deduced from the individual words.
Right. You can't just take the words at face value.
It's like learning a secret code, deciphering the hidden meanings behind these colorful expressions.
I like that analogy.
And they can vary so much depending on the region or country.
Oh, for sure.
An idiom that's common in the US might be completely unfamiliar in the UK, or a slang term that's popular among young people might sound strange to older generations.
That happens all the time.
So how can we effectively learn idioms and slang, especially considering their regional variations?
One of the best ways is to pay attention to how native speakers use them in context. When you're watching a movie or TV show, listening to a podcast, or reading a book, take note of the idioms and slang expressions that you come across and try to understand their meanings based on the situation.
It's like becoming a language detective, gathering clues and piecing together the puzzle of meaning.
I love that. Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're talking to a native speaker and you hear an idiom or slang term that you don't understand, politely ask them to explain it.
Most native speakers are happy to share their knowledge and insights, especially when they see that you're genuinely interested in learning their language.
I agree with that. The more you expose yourself to authentic language use, the more comfortable you'll become with understanding and using idioms and slang appropriately.
It's about adding those extra layers of richness and nuance to your English, making it sound more natural and engaging.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Now, beyond accents and idioms, there are other advanced techniques that can help you refine your English skills even further.
I'm all ears. What are some of these techniques?
One that I find particularly helpful is practicing speaking in different situations.
What do you mean by that?
Well, think about all the different contexts in which you use English in your daily life. You might need to give a presentation at work, order food in a restaurant, have a casual conversation with friends, or negotiate a business deal.
Yeah, I see your point.
Each of these situations requires different vocabulary communication styles and levels of formality.
That's a great point. It's not just about speaking English fluently, it's about speaking English appropriately for the given context.
Exactly. And the best way to develop this contextual fluency is to practice speaking in those specific situations.
So how can we do that?
One effective way is to role play with a language partner or tutor. You can create scenarios and practice the language you would use in those specific contexts.
It's like rehearsing for real-life conversations, preparing ourselves for the different linguistic challenges that might arise.
Exactly. And by practicing in a safe and supportive environment, you'll gain the confidence and fluency to handle these situations with ease in the real world.
That's fantastic advice.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that technology can be a valuable asset in our language learning journey. Can you elaborate on that? What are some ways we can leverage technology to improve our English skills?
Technology has revolutionized language learning, providing us with a wealth of resources and tools that were unimaginable just a few decades ago.
Oh, I know. It's incredible how much has changed. We have access to online dictionaries, grammar checkers, pronunciation guides, language learning apps, virtual reality experiences, and so much more.
It really is incredible.
It's truly a golden age for language learners. And one of the most powerful ways to use technology is to create a personalized learning environment that caters to your specific needs and goals.
I think that's key.
So it's about curating our own language learning toolbox, selecting the tools and resources that resonate with our learning style and preferences.
Exactly. For example, if you're a visual learner, you might benefit from using language learning apps that incorporate images and videos. If you're an auditory learner, you might prefer listening to podcasts or audiobooks. And if you're a kinesthetic learner, you might enjoy using interactive games or virtual reality experiences.
It's about finding what sparks your interest and keeps you engaged in the learning process.
Exactly. And technology can also help you connect with other learners from around the world, creating a sense of community and support that can be incredibly motivating.
There are so many online forums, language exchange platforms, and social media groups dedicated to English learning. It's a global network of support and inspiration.
It really is amazing.
Exactly. And by engaging with this global community, you can not only practice your English skills, but also broaden your horizons and learn about different cultures and perspectives. It's true. It's like opening a window to the world, connecting with people from all walks of life through the shared language of English.
Absolutely. Now, as we approach the end of our deep dive into mastering English in 2025, I think it's important to address a question that might be lingering in some learners' minds. Is there ever a point where we can stop actively learning English?
That's an interesting question. Is fluency a destination, or is it an ongoing journey?
Honestly, I believe that language learning is a lifelong journey. Even when you reach a level of fluency that allows you to communicate effectively in most situations, there's always room for improvement.
So it's not about reaching a finish line. It's about embracing the process of continuous learning and growth.
Exactly. Language is constantly evolving with new words and expressions emerging all the time. And as you engage with different aspects of the language, you'll discover new depths and complexities that you never knew existed.
It's like exploring an endless forest, with each path leading to new discoveries and wonders.
Exactly. And the more you learn, the more confident and skilled you'll become as an English speaker. You'll be able to express yourself with greater precision, nuance, and creativity. And you'll be able to connect with people from all over the world on a deeper level.
It's a truly enriching and rewarding journey, and I think that's a beautiful message to end on.
I agree. It's a reminder that language learning is not just about acquiring a skill. It's about expanding your horizons, connecting with others, and embracing the richness and diversity of human communication.
Well said. This has been such an inspiring and insightful conversation. I feel like we've covered so much ground, exploring a wide range of techniques, strategies, and resources that can help learners at all levels achieve their English language goals.
It really has been a fantastic conversation.
It has. And before we wrap up, I want to remind our listeners to subscribe to the Learn and Talk English podcast for more insightful episodes on improving your English.
And be sure to leave a comment below, letting us know your thoughts and what you'd like to hear us discuss in future episodes.
We love hearing from you. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep talking English.
Happy learning, everyone!